and welcome to Fury Models Kit Review time. Today we've got something completely different. We've got some containers. Yes, ISO containers. How many times have you been working on perhaps a diorama, you've got a large truck and you need something to put on it, or just generally something a little bit different in your diorama? Well, fear not, Trumpeter have come to the rescue with some straightforward injection molding for us. So what we got down here is two containers. This is the 40-foot version ISO container, and we've got another one that they've done which is the half size one of the 20-foot container. So if we have a look around the 40-foot one, because basically they are the same, okay? So down in here, this is the 40-foot one, obviously down here, 1/35 scale. As you can imagine, there's not a lot to it, okay, the side details and all the rest of it, but it's all going to do with marking. So this is the 40-foot one, which is kit number 10135, 1/35 scale, okay, and for the 20-foot version, it's 01029, okay. So a quick run round the box. There's not, as I said, a massive amount of detail to it. You've got a little bit of info showing about the latches and the hinges and the various bits and pieces. Now, I haven't even looked in these, so I have no idea what they are like, okay. Okay, so with the instructions, as you can imagine, there's not going to be a lot to this. Okay, so 4 sprues and some decals, okay. So right the way over here, pretty much standard. Got the floor, 2 sides and a ceiling going on. Looks like we've got a one-piece door for one end, and then we've got an open version of it down here. So we've got the framework, and then we've got the latches and the various parts going to be going on there. Then we got making the door up itself. So perhaps you can't have it as opened. All right, but we've got the actual framework, the retainers, and all the areas down there for the locking system on there, and then popping the end on. And it looks like we've got a couple of little feet areas at the top, okay, going down on there as well. Okay, so for the pads, not too much to it. Colour call out, I love the way it's got a colour call out. You can have it as blue, silver and black. Let's face it though, at the end of the day, it is a container. You can do whatever colours you'd like, okay. So yeah, that's pretty standard. We've got some nice decals that are going to go down there as well. I'm hoping they're sort of a little bit mixed up. So, in bag 1, we have, yeah, not too bad. Very chunky, flashy mould on this. But as you can see, this is our end. It is corrugated. It is what you'd expect from an ISO container. We've got those corner pads, okay, and everything else like that, and it's fully detailed on the inside as well. Okay, so you have got that option. This is the other door end, the open end one. This is just the open frame that's going to run round in there. Pretty standard. Okay, and then down here it has got an open door. It just doesn't really show it on the instructions. I thought it must do, because let's face it, they're missing the beat there. So what we've actually got is the doors, the 2 halves of the doors, I suppose, like this. Okay, and then we've actually got the actual bars, the locking bars, obviously at the top. It's going to lock top to bottom, are those going in, and those little hooks and eyes. And it looks like these will probably be working the way that these are all open-ended and various in there. Then we've got those pads on the top, which are going to go in the roof. Okay, right the way down on there. Again, it is what it is. There's nothing really to get excited about. It's an ISO container at the end of the day, but this is where you can use it in so many different ways. I'm just, you know, the possibilities of this are pretty much open-ended. It's endless. You could do anything to this you like. Okay, so what do we got? This will be our floor, one does believe. So there's the floor unit down at the bottom. Again, it is sorted out, or is this the top? This is probably the top, actually, I'm thinking, the way it's flat. And that's a side, or is that the floor? So I'm just trying to work this out. This must be, let me check the instructions here. Yeah, the floor is the smooth one, which is what we were thinking. So this is definitely the floor down on here, right the way through. And we've got the raised areas down in there for getting those lifters underneath and all the rest of it. So that's pretty standard. And we've got the roof with the ribbing running across the top, as you might imagine on those. And it just goes to show the actual sheer size of this. This isn't small. This is going to be quite a lump. When you've done this, it is going to be big. So the 40-foot one is a monster. 20-foot one probably be a little bit more like it. But as you can see, it is big, but it is what it is. It's beautifully molded. And I have to say, it's very thick plastic. This isn't just some thin, flimsy thing. This is pretty substantial plastic on this. Also, there's no ejector pins or anything like you might expect on this at all. It is solid construction right the way through, so you're not going to have to try and get, let's face it, in the olden days it would have been a sanding stick in between all of this to get it all cleaned up. So this is our side work, no problem with that. Again, as you say, completely void of any ejector pins, which is really nice. So you can have a nice solid container within half an hour, which is a very nice touch with that one. And again, it is this thing, you can move on with any type of weathering or, you know, any type of colouring or, you know, anything. As I said, really a nice open-ended project on this. And it's the type of thing you can add to other things you've done. So perhaps if you have got, you know, a truck buying round, want to put something on it, stick a 40-foot container on, or go the whole hog and just, you know, stick a 20-foot on, or whatever you want to do, a couple of 20s. And that way you would end up with something particularly nice at the end of it. So down on here we've actually got the markings, and as we thought, which is a nice touch, you've just got generic 1 to 9 with the 0, 1, so you've got 0 to sort of 9 on here right the way through, so you could give this any weight or markings you actually wanted, which is quite a nice thing. Right the way through, but you've got your standard thing, so you've got your weights, your net weights, your max weights, and all the various bits and pieces down here on this, so that's actually quite a nice touch. So there we go, something really simple, but something that's been missing, I think, from the hobby for quite a while. And I'm just thinking the amount of guys out there who've got, you know, just perhaps a truck, and perhaps you don't want to put armour onto it or a vehicle, and you want to put something a little bit different, you know, then stick an ISO container on, just stick a 20-foot one on, okay? If you want to go something, perhaps you're doing some type of diorama, and you want to do something like that, then obviously you could use a 40-foot container and all the rest of it like that. But I do think, really, it's one of those things, it's nice to see other objects being into the hobby that can be used, because technically you'd have to scratch build something like that normally, but now we can actually just go out and buy in plastic a nice 40-foot or a 20-foot container. So well done, Trumpeter, I actually quite like that. So that's Trumpeter's 1/35 scale 20 or 40-foot shipping containers.